Well, the world has seemed to have lost its collective mind with Brexit, so much so that even LG and Samsung have spoken about it. So what does it mean for you and me and for everyone who wants to buy cool smartphones? Well, it depends how much we overreact. Following the result of the Brexit referendum in which the UK voted to leave the European Union, a slowdown in consumer electronic sales is imminent. Now, we should bear in mind that a referendum from a strictly legal standpoint is not binding. It's simply an advisory, meaning that it tells Parliament what the people of the UK want, but Parliament may still vote to ignore the referendum result. Not that they necessarily will, but the point is a lot can happen between now and when the UK actually leaves the EU. Well, when a population faces uncertainty regarding jobs, border, trade, etc., the first thing they do is prepare for the worst, which means a lot less spending. And manufacturers know this, and they're afraid of it. In fact, Samsung and LG have already spoken out. An unnamed LG executive told the Korea Times this week that, quote, "The biggest worry is that the Brexit will dent consumer and business confidence." Samsung also spoke out, siding with an analysis from Moody's Investors Service that said, and I quote, "Heightened uncertainty during negotiations over new arrangements between the UK and the EU will likely dent investment." The unnamed Samsung source also noted that if the euro falls, it will affect Samsung's business in the European market. Now, although both LG and Samsung will likely not suffer significantly as a result of Brexit, at least not in the long term, both will be hesitant to invest heavily in either the EU or the UK until the dust has settled. Now, for our European friends, that could potentially mean fewer choices, fewer phones to buy. Now let's talk about the leaked specs for the alleged HTC Nexus, otherwise known as Sailfish. This week's leaks come from an exclusive story published by Android Police based on an unspecified source. While the site does caution that the details may not only change, but are also possibly not even accurate to begin with, given that September, when Google usually announces new products, is quickly approaching. The smaller of the two Nexus devices HTC is supposedly producing has the codename Sailfish. According to the source, specs and details of the smaller device are as follows. They expect a 2 GHz 64-bit quad-core system on a chip with a 5-inch Full HD display, 4 GB of RAM, 32 GB of onboard storage, with possibly having other storage variants released. The phone will pack a 12 megapixel rear cam, an 8 megapixel front cam, a rear-mounted fingerprint sensor, and USB Type-C ports. It is said to have a 2770 mAh battery, a speaker or speakers located at the bottom of the device, the headphone jack will be on the top, and the phone will support Bluetooth 4.2. Now, I know what you're thinking, what about the Htc Marlin? Well, as nothing about the Sailfish screams amazing, it leads one to believe that the Marlin will be Google's main offering and the true flagship product. It will likely have at least a Snapdragon 820 or 821, 4 or 6 GB of RAM, a quad HD display of a larger size. And given that last year's pair of Nexus devices had decidedly different design details, the question is raised if they will do the same thing again. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Most of you in our poll believed that this was a good follow-up to the Nexus 5X. What do you think? Let me know. And last up, let's talk about transient smartphone blindness. Two separate women in the UK went to the hospital suffering from what is now known as temporary smartphone blindness. Fearing a stroke or other serious conditions, the unrelated women underwent a series of complicated and expensive tests before being referred to an eye specialist. The specialist diagnosed one-eyed smartphone usage in bed. It turns out temporary smartphone blindness is more common than you might expect, with the issue being detailed in the New England Journal of Medicine. The problem occurs simply enough because one eye becomes accustomed to the brightness of the smartphone display, while the other, usually obscured by a pillow, stays accustomed to darkness. However, you should know a spokesperson from the American Academy of Ophthalmology said 2 cases were hardly enough to constitute proof that one-eyed smartphone usage in bed is the root cause behind transient smartphone blindness. But at least, if you do suffer from something similar, you may not have to go through the stress of suspecting you are having a stroke. And if you're all concerned, please consult your doctor. Hi guys, Jayce here. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying the beginning of your summer. If you wanted more details on the topics I covered today, you can go to the link right in the show links below to get more details. Take care.